do you get so nervous when you get in front of people to play? Why do you lose all your skills? What is happening in that situation? And what is happening is that it's all about you suddenly. It's not about the music, but it becomes about you. And you cannot change that. Just like, stop this from being about me. It's not, and that's not the reason why I'm saying it. But what happens in the brain is that when you feel fear, it's always fear of dying. Fear and death you can't separate the two. When that emotion of fear is in your body, it's the anticipation of death that we're talking about here, because you are a pack animal. You don't have claws, you don't have fur, you can't run very fast. A small dog can outrun you and out-eat you, right? So you're basically totally defenseless without the pack, without other people. And so when you get up in front of people and say, look what I can do, you risk being rejected, judged. You risk, people don't liking you. At least that's what the fantasy says. Because your brain has 3 different levels, and one of them is the monkey brain, is the mammal brain. And that's the level that really, gets in your way here. Because that's the pack animal that's afraid that it's going to be rejected. And so it squirts out, stress hormones in your blood. And so it feels like, the fretboard feels differently. The strings suddenly, you can't slide up and down because the sweat on your fingers and everything tenses up, which is really a war-like reaction. It's stress, it's fear, and it's built to fight the tiger or the enemy and not to, perform something, but as delicate as playing the guitar. But the monkey brain thinks it helps. So it kind of puts you in that state so you can fight, because it thinks it's a life and death situation. And that doesn't make any sense, but welcome to being a human being, right? And so what do? Okay, we have to teach the monkey within us that this is not dangerous. And the only way to do that is through proof. So basically, you raise the bar gradually in order for you to be less and less nervous in front of more and more people. And you start with just by yourself, right? If it's really bad for you, you simply start in your own room. You close your eyes, you get up, you stand like you would if you were performing, and then you imagine people out there. You maybe even talk to them, say, "Hello, good night. Are we out there tonight?" Right? And then you start practicing or playing in front of them, and maybe do a little intro where you say, "Yeah, I'm going to play a solo that's so and so," and then you record yourself. So you can because that's a good way to emulate the audience, recording yourself. This is it, right? You cannot do a retake. And then you simply start playing. And if you visualize vividly enough, that is going to make you a little bit nervous already there. But then you do that over and over again for 30 days. Try to do it just once a day. Just do that. The next step is to invite your family, people you trust and who know you, in. And it's going to be uncomfortable. And that's the whole point. And then you do that every day, and there's no function in it. People don't need to say anything. They just need to sit there so you can play in front of them. And don't clap, don't do anything. In fact, it's much better they do this and then leave. So you feel the rejection, right? And teach, I'm still alive. How amazing, right? And then you do that over and over again. See how many times you can do that in a month or in a week, or open the door to your room so the rest of the family can hear you and judge you at the dinner table. Do that over and over again. And it might be a little bit uncomfortable, but that's the way to get through it. So the more you can do that, the better. Then the next thing is actually the most effective. But you might have to do the first 2 steps in order to get to the third, which is sitting down in a street or, a train station, wherever you can, with your guitar and start playing. That's the perfect training ground for getting rid of your nervousness. Because people are going to reject you over and over again. You're just going to walk by and say, there's a guy playing guitar. Let's not focus on him. So they're going to look like they reject whatever you're doing, hundreds of times in just an hour. So you can just do it. Just sit down and just start playing. See if you can do it for 10 minutes, right? But this is a huge step if you don't do the first 2 steps first. And then do that a little each week. That's the whole key here. Do it over and over and over again until your body simply just gets used to it. It's been like this with everything in my life. I used to be, I can't do, I have to, have an appointment with a CEO of some company, right? And the first 3 times it was like, hello, right? And then you just get used to it. And then it disappears simply because you teach the monkey brain that this is not dangerous. It looks like it's dangerous, but it isn't. So those are the steps. But there's another thing you can do. You can decide when you are outperforming, who am I going to impress? Because you're going to try and impress somebody. You're a pack animal and you need the pack, right? So you're going to try and impress somebody until impressing them comes natural, right? You get positive feedback even when you're not trying, and then you stop trying to impress people. But until then, you are going to try because you're a pack animal. So you're going to try and impress people that with the impression that you are a valuable member of the pack. This is monkey logic. There's nothing to do with music, but that's just how it is. So you have to choose. That's what you can do. You can choose. Am I going to try and impress my fellow guitarists with my amazing alternate picking skills or my amazing whatever skills? Or am I going to try and impress the general audience? Because those two things are totally... The best stand-up comedians are focused on the audience and not their fellow comedians. I know of no worse focus than to try and impress your colleagues. Those are not the ones listening. They might be. Those are the ones that you respect to give you the... Right? But that's not your job. Your job is to put on a show for the people who paid for the tickets, right? Or the beer or whatever, right? Those are the ones you really should be impressing because that's your job. And so don't write jokes for your colleagues. Write jokes for the audience if you're a comedian. Please, right? Because that's what impresses me. And when you're a musician, please try to impress the people. And how do you do that? Well, you play stuff that they actually understand. Instead of trying to, fire off, smooth alternate picking runs, which they don't care what techniques you use to produce the notes. They just want to hear or the whatever it is, right? And they even think, most people think tapping is harder than alternate picking, so why even bother, right? So if you want to impress them in that way and put on a metal show like that, or you want to, have your solos stand out by playing something that seems spectacular, then use stuff that you can actually do easily. And then, play solos that consist of notes that hang, right? Right? Do that kind of stuff and do... Because people understand that. You're not flying all over the place and trying to cram as much content into your solos as possible. You're actually trying to produce something that really sings with the song you're playing and that works on an audience level. And that level is much easier than the fellow guitarist level, which is always a matter of pushing your skill level to the outer barrier of what you can do, which always fails when you're nervous. So make that choice. Who are you trying to impress? Because you're trying to impress somebody if you're nervous. That's for sure. And it's not like, I shouldn't be trying to impress. Stop the shouldn't. You are trying to impress somebody if you feel nervousness. You cannot stop it. You can only wiggle your way out of it by following the process I described and then by choosing who you want to impress up front, the audience or your fellow guitarist. And even though there's no fellow guitarist present even, you're still going to see one in the audience, right? Oh, I need to, I need to use the double harmonic minor scale over this chord progression, otherwise he won't be impressed, right? Then he'll reject me. And he's the one I respect. You have to cut that off. You have to, choose what kind of guy you want to be in that situation, because otherwise you'll be, stressed out of your mind. So those were the words. I hope this was helpful to you. Please subscribe to my channel. Go download the free program, whatever you can, and stay tuned and stay connected so I can keep giving you free stuff. I'll see you in the next free video. Go to my website right now and download my free course on alternate picking mastery. It contains 5 essential exercises that will take you to alternate picking mastery faster than you can imagine. And then I've included my method of how to lay out a practice plan in just 1 to 2 minutes that will absolutely boost your results like nothing you ever tried before. So go download it right now. It's free.